Hello, welcome to episode 191 of Daryl Show Your Work. In this episode, I'll be conducting a spear phishing campaign, and the method I'm going to be using is spoofing a messaging app. All right, so before I get started, I'm going to give my usual disclaimer here anytime I'm doing red team activity, and that this is for educational, ethical, and research purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may come from someone that may or may not come from someone watching my video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. Also, before I get started, want to remind everyone to please take advantage of the limited time offer by INE. It's good until the 22nd of this month, where you'll not only gain exclusive access to the new AI security specialist certification. All right, you'll get discounted access to the learning path. You'll get discounted access to the related exam voucher, and you'll also get 3 months of premium access to their full library of learning. All right, so that's the cybersecurity learning paths. All right, red teaming, blue teaming, incident response, um, penetration testing, different variations of it, mobile web penetration testing, web penetration testing, SOC, I always say incident response, sorry, digital forensics, the whole gambit, all right, and even more things I didn't even mention, all right, but you gain all of that along with the exclusive their AI security special certification, which you cannot get by any other means right now because technically it's not released and this is the pre-sale. All right, so if you go to get.ine.com/Daryl and scroll a little bit, once you get in there, you'll see the offer. And again, I highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed with the hands-on skills you'll obtain. That's high in demand by cybersecurity industry companies and leaders today. All right, so to get started, I am going to be going through the various attack phases here. So I'm going to start with active reconnaissance here with the nmap tool. All right, so I've already know who my target is. All right, already have that well, not IP address, but rather a host name. All right, so I'm going to do a service scan, and I'm going to do one of twire.io. All right, and this is more of a domain than it is a host name, rather. All right. All right, so we can see that three ports are open here. We can see that port 22, which is related to SSH, is open, and both ports 80 and 443 are open. All right, so a few things that we can deduce from here is that we can see what version of OpenSSH they're running, and along with from both the information we're gaining from the SSH protocol and HTTP protocol, we can see that they're running an Ubuntu instance, all right, and then we can see that that's running on top of an Apache web server. So if we're thinking in terms of the LAMP stack, we have two out of the four letters here. We have a Linux, which is Ubuntu, and A for Apache. All right. So, but it's not really really pertinent to what we have going on here, but just wanted to, just as a side note, to let everybody know, that's some things that we could deduce from here. But the main thing is we know that something's being hosted publicly. So let's take a visit to twire.io. All right. And so since port 443 is open, I'm gonna say HTTPS, since we know a secure version of that is being hosted, or at least one that has a security certificate. All right, and then that's twire dot io. All right, so I'm gonna say, I'm gonna accept the risk. All right, give me a quick second here. All right, not sure what happened there. All right, let's exit out of that. All right, so one thing that I wanted to point out here is, again, a little side note. Anytime that you go on a secure site and you want to view the security certificate, you can click here on this little padlock next to the URL. All right, and we can see here that apparently the security certificate has expired because it's telling me connection not secured. All right, so if I click on that arrow and go to more information, all right, under this tab here, the security tab, I go to view certificate. We can see all the certificate information here in another tab that's shown up. All right, so this is all the security certificate information here, just as a side note. All right, so now that I've done some active reconnaissance with nmap, now I want to conduct some passive reconnaissance. Now that I'm actually on the target site. All right, so just scrolling through here to try to find any sort of interesting information that could lead to anything that I can exploit, or any ways that I could potentially target the inside people in that company. And here's a few ways right here at the bottom. All right, so we have Mr. Dwayne Wilder, Miss Rebecca Aniston, and Mr. Steve Musk. All of these names are extremely familiar. All right, but all right, so we have a company URL. All right, so we know that the company's name is twire.io, and then we have first and last names. All right, and then if we look at the bottom here, we can see for our staff app.twire.io, which looks very interesting. So let's pay a visit there. All right, so if I say app.twire.io. All right, we can see we got a page that says platform under development. So one thing I want to do now is I want to conduct some active recon actually on this app page. So I'm gonna go back here to my terminal. All right, and let's run a service scan. I'm gonna alter this just a little bit. All right, and then we're gonna run this on app.twire.io. All right, so we can see that is being publicly hosted as well, which we saw. All right, and port 80 is open, so it looks like that's the only other port. That's the only port that's open on its server. All right, and then we can see the header information here that it's running Apache on Apache web server as well. Also using an Ubuntu operating system, and then again, as we saw on the page, the HTTP title is a platform under development, which we saw there. All right, so if I go back here, all right, I want to authenticate. So let me try to reload the page here. There we go. All right, so I want to put in some test credentials here to see what type of message that this app gives you back if I put in the wrong credentials. All right, and again, this is a type of reconnaissance here that I'm doing. So I'm gonna say test at test.com. All right, and then I'm gonna put in just some random characters here. All right, enter. All right, so we got an email does not exist message. All right, so we know, so it's telling me that that email is wrong. Don't know about the password, but it's telling me that the email is wrong. All right, so if I go back to the home page, All right, I want to be able to gather some more details here. All right, so if we were to read, let's see, read the names again here. Let's try. I'm gonna try to use combine a couple of the details that I've gathered here, and I'm gonna aggregate those and see if I can come up with a coherent email address. So let's start with let's do Dwayne. All right. So I'm gonna say Dwayne, and I'm gonna just do the first name. I'm not gonna do first and last name. All right. I'm gonna say Dwayne at twire.io. All right. And then I'm gonna put in those random characters again, and let's see what happens. And so what this is going to do is I'm trying to see what message comes back. If I put in an email address that I suspect is legitimate, and I want to see if this gives me back a message, any type of hint or message that that may be the case. So I'm gonna hit enter, and lo and behold, it tells me wrong password. So by that message coming back telling me it's the wrong password, it's informed me that that email address is correct because though my password was wrong, my email address was correct. All right, so that's let me know not only does Dwayne does Dwayne at twire.io is that telling me that that's a valid address, but tells me that that's a valid format for the rest of the for the at least for the rest of the two members that I seen there on the front page. So it's basically has told me what the format of the email convention is. So I already know some folks to send this to, and then also given the titles. All right, we see that Dwayne is the head of human resources, Rebecca is the head of sales, and Steve is the lead engineer. These are some big wigs in the company. So then now I know that I can run a spear phishing campaign specifically targeting certain members of the organization or welling, if you were, if I were to target some specifically some higher ups in the company here. All right, so give me a minute here. All right, so from here, what I want to do is I want to begin doing some more reconnaissance to determine okay now what methods can I use to trick these individuals into falling for my spear phishing campaign. So let's go back here, all right, and let's gather some more information. So I'm gonna start reading some of the responses here, some of the comments here from the executives. All right, so starting with Dwayne, all right, he says working with T-Wire is one of the best experiences in my career. I love the community we have together with my colleagues, especially staying all day in Slack together while working from home. All right, so that lets me know that Slack, which those that don't know, it's an application that's used by by either personally or professionally for people to communicate with each other. All right, so that it uses different channels for different subject matters, and so I know that Slack is an application that's being used by this company. All right, so that I know now in my email to use a Slack a link or a link that leads to a something or a page that mimics the Slack application. All right. So from here, I want to go back to my terminal, and what I'm going to do is I've already have a downloaded have the index page for a Slack interface. So I'm going to modify that um, um, in a way where it's going to capture their user credentials, all right, and then basically save that to save that to a text file that I'm going to then use to I could use that as as far as manually trying to trying to log into the system, exploit the system, or I can use that to try to brute force their credentials, or whatever I decide to do with those user credentials. All right. So, all right, I'm going to use my text editor to create this. All right. So let's say nano. Well, but first is hold on. First, I need to clear the default HTML directory. So let me say sudo rm rf, and then let's see var. All right, so I want to clear this out. So this is the only file that'll be that I'm going to create that'll be present in this directory. All right, so about another side note, rm dash rf. Be very careful in using that. Do not use that without a directory, because you will have, I mean, you'll pretty much destroy your Linux distribution. All right, so just a side note there. All right, so now put dot. I want to put, all right. So this should clear out that directory for me. And then in order for me to complete that, I have to give it my password. All right, that's done. So that directory should be clear now. All right, and then from here, I'm going to actually I'm going to open a file that's right now in my downloads. All right, which is that index file that has a copy of that Slack page that I'm going to spoof. All right. All right, like I'm inside of there. All right, so from here, I'm going to go to line 36. All right, so I'm going to take out everything where it says form action equals. I'm going to remove what's currently in here and replace it um, with the server name that I'm going to be using to do the harvesting. All right, so I'm going to call this harvest creds.php. All right, and then I'm going to specify the method as post. All right, um, so the HTML forms contain an attribute called action. All right, that's what we're seeing here with this form action line. And this attribute, it specifies where to send the form data after the form is submitted. So when the web server receives this data, it then decides what kind of calculations to perform on them based on the value of the form attribute. So this method, it's going to redirect the web page to a PHP file that I specified here. This harvest creds.php. It's going to redirect that to to this file, and it's going to store the target's at credentials. All right. So there's a few other things I need to modify here. All right, so line 47 and 48. So everywhere where it says I'm going to replace it with password. And I'm explaining in a second here why I'm doing that. All right, and then let's change this here to password. All right, and then on this line, we're going to make this password. Make this password. All right, and then two more areas here. Oops. Password and password. All right, just making sure I didn't misspell anything here, because that will blow everything up. All right, everything looks good. All right, so the login form, it before I made these changes, all right, it only asks for an email with no password input field. So since the focus is on harvesting credentials, I modified the form to accept a password input instead of an email. All right, so now that I've done that, everything looks good. I'm going to Control X to exit and capital Y to save. All right, so from here now I want to remember that www HTML directory that I emptied out. Now I want to move this index file to that empty directory. All right, because this is ultimately is the directory that I'm going to be hosting. All right, so I want to do sudo mv for move, and then I want to move that out of downloads HTML. All right, and then I need to basically that this is the only file in there. So basically everything in the downloads HTML directory, and I want to move that to var www, um, and then HTML. All right. All right. Looks like everything worked there. All right. Now I want to actually switch that directory. So in fact, I'm going to do all that. Let's just go back here. Let's add a CD here. There we go. I'm in a directory. If I do a list, all right. So we can see the where is that index file? We can see the index file right here. All right. So next, from here, I want to create the actual PHP file in the same directory. All right. So using my Nano text editor. All right. So I've only made a reference to that file, but I haven't actually created it yet. So PHP. All right. All right. And give me a moment here because I'm going to be posting some code. All right. So just explaining what it is what I've added here. So this code it should check if the post requests are from the sign in with the email button is submitted using the an is set function, and then it's going to save the user inputs into two variables: the username, the dollar sign username, and the dollar sign password. All right, and then it's going to combine them into a single variable. All right, and then that variable is right here. It's this dollar sign text. All right, and so in order to write the user's input into the file, all right, it's declaring the variable it's a variable known as $fp with f open and close. Where is that? I cannot find that on here. All right, but what it's going to do is going to create the accounts txt file. All right, that's right here, and it's going to then it's going to use a f write to write the text the text the dollar sign text variable. All right, so everything looks good. Just checking the syntax here. All right. So let's save and exit. Control X and a capital Y to save. All right. So now I'm going to start trying to redirect the user to localhost, which is my machine. All right. So basically, oh, this one more thing. Let's go back. Hold on. I want to show how that's done. All right. So right here. So this is where that's done as far as the using the header here. All right, that's what's going to redirect the user to localhost, which is my machine. All right, after submitting the page is going to redirect back to me. All right, HTTP localhost. All right, so exit out. All right. So next, I want to create the actual accounts txt file, which is going to store the credentials. So let's see. Actually, no, let's just do touch. .txt because we want to make that empty. There's nothing to add there. All right, and then I want to give it. I wanted to give it some write permissions. All right, so in order to do that, I'm gonna say chmod 7. Just give it full full privileges there with full permissions. HTML, and then specifying that the directory and the other file that I want to add these permissions to. Oh, forgot the S. All right. All right. So if I do just to verify that those permissions are set, I'm gonna do a list all, and then you know what? Just do it the easy way. And I want to list everything in this directory and be able to, when I do a list all, it's going to show me all the permissions associated with each file within that directory. All right, so looking at accounts .txt, we can see read, write, executable for the owner, read, write, executable for groups, and read, write, executable for everybody else. All right, so it has a full full set of permissions there. All right, so next, I want to actually set up the Apache server. All right, that's going to be hosting this directory. All right, so I'm gonna say sudo service Apache to start. All right, so no error message. So more than likely that started, but the way I could verify that is going back to my browser here. And remember, my URL is localhost. So if I go to HTTP, um, but it's going to be unsecured version. So localhost. All right, and there it is. All right, so there's my Slack spoof page there. All right, so let's enter in. For example, let's pretend like Let's say that I've started this campaign and I sent a convincing email to Dwayne. All right, and I pretend to be someone within the company. I said, "Hey, Dwayne, sign in the Slack. For whatever reason. All right, we need to talk about something on Slack, or I need you to come to XYZ, join XYZ Slack channel. All right, so Dwayne enters his credentials. Dwayne, all right, at twire.io, and then he's going to enter in his actual credentials. All right, so all right, so then he clicks the sign in with email button. All right, nothing happens. So he thinks that okay, what's going on? Something wrong with Slack or whatever. Okay, so if I go back in the terminal, all right, and now if I'm me putting on my red team hat again, if I'm the attacker, I do sudo cat. All right, since I'm writing all that out. All right. I do sudo cat, all right, and then var www html slash accounts.txt. Look at there. That's his credentials. All right. Dwayne at twire.io. And this is password. It's pass W0RD bang. All right. So that's an example of how someone can run a successful spear phishing campaign. All right. So I didn't go through the whole sending email and everything like that, but just wanted to give an example of how someone can set up a a spoofing page of something like Slack. All right. And once a victim goes to that hosted URL, then if they enter in their information, how an attacker can then capture those credentials to then be able to re-authenticate into something of theirs. When in this case it would be whatever that app that ty.io is, and I could grab whatever I want from there, or at least have access to the system from there, and then do some privilege escalations, pivot, whatever I want to do from there. All right. So please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. And again, check out INE's new bundle for their AI security specialist certification, along with that 3-month premium access to the entire learning library. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.